Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and today we are back with another Dino Dan pack review. And I just want to mention now that I actually bought all of the last packs that I needed. I think there's like 4 packs left, and I basically bought all of them and recorded them all. So yeah, we're going to do the last ones. I'm basically doing these, and then I'll do the green screens in a little bit. And then once I finish all that, I will be able to do my final ranking of every single creature, plus my concept of how I changed the app and stuff. But anyways, today we are going to be reviewing the Dino Flyers pack. This is, I believe, the smallest pack with only 3 creatures. And I'm going to start off now. It's definitely not my favorite pack. I don't hate it, but I at the same time I kind of do. I really like the creatures and the creature designs in it, but you'll see what we're talking about when we get into it. But anyways, let's actually get into the footage. 1, 2, 3. So yeah. Starting off, we are going to start by looking at the first creature, Pterodactylus. Which I also first realized it's called Pterodactyl for some reason on the app, but yeah, Pterodactylus. And you see my big issue with the Flyers. They have a base. This big base basically stops you from being able to see the creature, especially since it's flying around constantly. So yeah, that's my biggest issue. They don't stand, but we'll get to that. We'll talk about that more in a little bit. Again, the Pterodactylus model looks great. The animations look good. And I also forgot to mention they don't really have animation. When you click on them, they just make a sound. So yeah, Pterodactylus doesn't have any animations. It just flies constantly. You can barely see it. The model looks good, though I admittedly think it's the wrong color. I can barely see the model, but from what I can tell, it looks great. And again, it just loses points simply because you can barely see it, and also the fact that the base is just kind of in the way. There's like the closest we get at Pterodactylus. Again, and also it's just kind of a similar place as the aquatics, except at least the aquatics stay in the same place. The pterosaurs, you cannot see them. They just fly around. Again, I think it would have been better if they had like a flying in place animation, a standing animation, and then they could have a setting where they could have the bases. But Pterodactylus, like 4 out of 10. Pterodaustro. This one's better. It doesn't fly around as much, and also the base is less invasive. So out of the pterosaurs, I'm automatically giving it like a 7. Actually, I forgot to mention something with the Pterodactylus. Again, like the base can move around. Kind of weird. And when you click on it again, here's the sound. It's kind of just a screeching sound. The sound you would expect to hear from it. But anyways, now we have Pterodaustro again. Again, when I was talking about the base, it's pretty good. Like, again, it's probably the best out of all of them. Would have been cool if you clicked on it and could have, like, skimmed across the water. That would have been pretty cool. But again, the model looks pretty good. I have to give this one a 7 out of 10. Again, if it would have had if this would easily be like a 9 out of 10 creature if it could actually stay still, and also, again, it doesn't have a base. But that being said, since it does, it's just not the best. Also, flying animation is actually good, but the way it moves around is a bit unnatural. But, yeah. Next, we move on to Quetzalcoatlusl. Another one with a really good model. I know it has an image of the Dino Dan Trek's Adventure Quetzal, but the actual model is the Dino Dan, the movie one. And, again, the movie model is kind of ugly, but at the same time, it still kind of works. This one's also not as bad, though. I feel, again, if it didn't have the big stone in the way, this one would have been actually pretty decent since it stays in one place. And also, the fact that Quetzalcoatlusl doesn't have a standing animation doesn't make any sense. So, yeah. Again, Quetzalcoatlusl is probably the second best. I still think the Pterodaustro one's a bit better. Though at the same time, for a flying animation, I think the Quetzal does look pretty cool with it kind of flying around in a circle. Especially when you scale it up a lot, it's almost life-size. So, yeah. Models also seems to be a bit dark. The animations are pretty solid. I'd give it like, I don't know, 4 out of, like, maybe about 5 out of 10. Again, the Flying Creatures pack. It's actually one of the cheapest packs. I didn't have the price up here, but yeah, it's easily, I think it is one of the cheapest packs, or the second cheapest pack. It doesn't have the biggest diversity of creatures, and again, you can't really have them land, so you can't get a good look at them, so the whole pack gets, like a 4 out of 10. Honestly, a 3. I wouldn't really recommend this pack. Even some of the other packs where they're not the best, I would rank those, or at least say in some situations they kind of work. But this pack just doesn't. Again, you can't really see them. If there's one in this pack that you like, this is like the only time where I'd recommend just to buy that one creature. I'd recommend maybe getting Pterodaustro if you want a flyer. But, yeah, outside of that, I just don't think that this is really good. I think they really need to be able to stand in. A little bit of a spoiler, there is one other pterosaur in the app, and, it can stand. In fact, it doesn't have a flying animation, and I'd rather have a standing animation than to have a flying animation where you can barely see it. But you have to wait to actually go watch that review before you can actually see it, because I won't spoil it in this video. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, just definitely probably my least favorite pack. This is probably lowest ranking, though there's one more that might be worse, but we'll get to that one later. Of all the packs, it's definitely not the best, and again, can't really recommend it for anyone. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one, and goodbye.